Welcome into my second Elite Dangerous stream. We are continuing on the exploration and or maybe not Xeno, but exobiology uh, hunting as we're doing. So I have done a little off. I've done a lot more than just a little off stream, but I've found a second or a planet with two or planet with four, I should say, uh, biological signals. So we're going to be looking for most of those. The almost certainly going to be skipping the bacterium. That is one that it's always a lucky. You have to have luck. You either find three of them very easily, or you're spending 10 minutes searching, or 10 minutes plus searching for it. So I am. If I find them, great. If not. This is very bumpy, rocky area that I landed, but I supposedly, or I chose it because when I scanned the planet, this was an area that was supposed to have three of the four, possibly all four, in this area, but it also very hard to drive. Yes, here's one. So off to scan. Aren't we? All got the first footfall, as well as before I jumped onto stream, I found the I got the efficiency bonus, which is will help when I'm selling everything. So far, all the exobiology that I've collected have been on planets that have had first footfall confirmed. So that should help give me a good extra boost to my credits. This area was going to be so rocky like this. Would have chosen different area to land just because pretty much a little bit after my last stream on Sunday, I was going along and I landed in a massive coulee where I wasn't able to get my SRV out. Trying to drive up the wall, it would stall out, and then the whole game would sort of maybe not glitch out, but jitter and shake, and then suddenly I was back down in the bottom. So I realized that this wasn't a good thing. So I ended up having to jump pack my way out and Skyrim run up the walls of the coulee, then call my ship, and I promptly went to a close by fleet carrier that was about a jump or two away. I stopped by that just to stock up on limpets and re resupplied on my SRV. So, and after that, I've been even more careful with driving and choosing where I do my uh land my ship so that some of that doesn't happen again. Got two in this area, which is good. Yeah, this is, I want to say, an icy world. So the bacterium would definitely be a bit of a chore to find. I have already gotten, or this is one of two systems in the, or planets in the system that have the biological signatures. So I also want to stop by the other one, and as such, I feel alright skipping a couple of them. Does this kinda mess other people who might come along and spend the time finding the all of them? Possibly. It's I've done a little looking into sort of just how the exobiology and the money is broken down, and it at times seems to be a tad confusing because it's like one place said that if you land on a planet, get the confirmed first footfall, scan, get a bunch of stuff, but don't sell it before somebody else lands on the system and collects the biology, and they get the bonus first, even though you're the one who it shows up on the screen as first footfall. But I only saw one place talk about that, and honestly, a lot of these exobiology I've decided to figure out as I go along. So, so I really only watched a little bit about these are the systems that you need to look for, whatnot, and then one video about how to drive the SRV. Like, there's a way that you can do free camera mode and drive around, and you'll see more. But when I tried that once before, I got nasty vertigo, and it made me feel like I was going to puke. So I decided I was not going to try that. I was just going to drive it normally, and if I missed something, welcome in Delta. Yes, vegetable scanning. It's oddly calming. I find there's a lot of enjoyment of just being out in the black and not being around people, but being on some of the on Planet Falls and looking up into the skybox and seeing just somewhat empty sky is really nice. But there's also the issues of driving the SRV, which handle like a three-wheeled Mako. Mass Effect. Just it can be an issue, but as long as you try to keep your uh, throttle below about 20, you can control most of the issues, and as long as you're not on a really bumpy hills like this, it's fine. I was able to catch a little bit after the fact your Tuesday stream, Delta, and mainly caught part of the this first little bit, and I believe it was chaotic. Talked about asking had a question about exploration and what planets you can land on. So in the while you're exploring, what I have found is the planets that you can land on are planets like this that have the half crescent around it, or the half crescent with along with the full circle. These ones right here are the ones that will have a biological or geographical uh, feature to it. The other ones will just have a bit of an atmosphere that you can drive around and collect uh, engineering mats that way. The ones with a full circle or no circle at all, I believe the no circle ones you cannot land on, but the full circle ones only you definitely can't land on. Yeah, it's just the blue ring or the blue. Yeah, these two, and then of course gas giants you can't land on them, but hopefully people know you can't land on gas giants. Those two easily picked up, and this being a massively bumpy ride, I am heading back to my ship after flipping my. I'm going to choose a new spot to do a little more exploration here.
Drive assist off.
Flying along, check some of these areas, but they all. Those are all through scan.
Landing gear retracted.
Another thing that I
Frameshift
have
drive
found
charging.
and was in the first little research that I did was
One.
it's always
Engage.
better to look for planets that have the biological signals that are within about 5,000 light years of the main sun or the sun that it's orbiting. Because any further than that, and it gets really uh, dark on the planet and hard to see things, which definitely understand. There we go. That is came in a little too steep of an angle, so going to be slower planetfall landing. Be spending most of our time boosting. Only about yeah, I'm closer to 50 kilometers away than I am 500. That is center or somewhere. Let's continue. Go at a bit more of an angle so that not going straight down toward the planet. Should start to see some of the things appear, which I'm starting to see over this way. They are correct. So these are more rocks that are rendering in. Now let's start flying around. Forward so my chair that really helped me. Welcome in, Chaotic. I was just sort of briefly talking about a question you asked in Delta's stream Tuesday, where you were asking about the exploration and what planets that you could land on. And I'm not sure if somebody was able to answer it in your stream in that stream or not, but I did a little flying around, and the planets that I found that you can land on are planets that, like this one, that have the half crescent around there, and then these planets that have the half crescent and the circle. I believe it's these half crescent that designates the landable planets. Otherwise, they are unsafe to land on. But welcome in. Glad to have you. Yeah, uh, that sort of time, not being able to sleep. Okay, yeah, let's go at a. Um, this is not. Yes, rotate, rotate. There we go. That is how you land. It is saying it's unsuitable terrain, but Not trying to find a new one. I don't think I've ever told this story online, but when I first uh, started working outside of high school, I was working two jobs, one at a gas station and another at my local stadium, and was pulling about I'd calculated about halfway in that I 6 out of the 7 days I was out of the house for about 18 hours for like both jobs, basically working 8 hours at one job, going to the other, working 6 or 7 hours at the other one every day. And I got very loopy by the um end of it, and I definitely said something I didn't mean to working at the stadium when a couple people showed up and asked for, yeah, they asked, it was two girls and their uncle, and they uh asked for a couple beers, and I meant to ID them because they looked to be under 30, which was the regulation at our place. But instead, I asked if they wanted their oil changed because I was very out of it and thought I was still working at the gas station, which was that was one of the questions we had to ask.
Drive
Thankfully,
assist
they
off.
didn't get mad at me and didn't report me to my supervisor, which that would have been quite a conversation. But after that, I realized I shouldn't be pulling multiple weeks like that and cut down my hours at the stadium. But yeah, for that time, I was running mostly on Coca Cola because that was the caffeine that I would, or how I got my caffeine. They didn't answer that question. Uh, they got very red in the face and their uncle burst out laughing, and I promptly apologized and uh, explained why that had sort of happened, or like where that had come from, and then promptly checked their IDs, got them their beers, and they went on. And after that, yeah, it was I use that like mentally as a way to be like, yes, no, don't stay up for with very little sleep for multiple weeks unless you absolutely have to, which in Delta's case does. New kid definitely takes priority. Yeah, no, I definitely didn't say that. It, maybe chaotic, maybe it just the there was also the issue of intermission was about to happen, so there was definitely going to be a lot more people, and we were going to have lines. So even if they did want it, would not be the timing to do it. But depending on how late of a stream it is Delta. I'll definitely be popping in to that. And welcome in, Shaw. Glad to have you. Yeah, that's only true.
Drive assist off.
Number. I still really haven't fully gotten the like distance that you need to be between the various points where you can scan. I do believe it is around 500 meters away. That is roughly where they have been. True. You very well might. For a buggy that has 6 wheels, you would think it would have better handling. Or some of it might be the user. I think some of it might be the user. Yes, definitely some of the user having issues with the SR. Just stroke past the bacterium puddle. Don't want to spend multiple 10, 20 sort of thing looking for three. So yeah, you can definitely do much more. Although there is some surface based mining that you can do, but a lot of that is driving around to find the deposits, and they're a lot smaller, and you only get maybe 4 or 5 chunk things that are all engineering mats. But yeah, if you only watch Delta, you'd think this was a mining simulator.
Landing gear retracted.
Which I did scan the rings of the 3 ringed planets. Sort of. You the surface mining that you do is the you drive around on the SRV till you find a
Frameshift drive charging.
little rock. You target it, you shoot it, and you'll get things like carbon and that sort of thing.
Four,
But
three,
it's not the laser mining in an asteroid belt. It's not the core mining in an asteroid belt. It's a lot more. You're driving around for a while using the waveform scanner till you track down something, and definitely just gonna have to new loop there. Some of the scanning, it can be a little difficult, and there are multiple different ways to scan things. So there's the system scans, there's detailed scans, there's full spectrum scans, there's just the so yeah, it's and this is a game that has quite the learning curve, as most people have either discovered or and talked about. And what I'm about to start to do is more of a detailed surface scan, which involves launching the probes and letting it scan the planet. I'm still somewhat at the stage of where nothing fully makes sense. So,
Surface scanned by 50%.
not sure how long that'll stay, but
Surface scan complete.
so what I was doing there was launching probes at the planet, and when you at the bottom right hand, you sort of like the efficiency target. That's a lot more for exobiology than anything else. If you're able to scan the planet up to 90%, where it'll autofill the last 10, you will get an extra bonus when selling whatever you pick up. And it's only like a one times extra, I want to say. It's not as much of a bonus as first footfall, which is 4 times. But that is a way to see what is on a planet, get it or get even more details if it's a non uh, a planet that doesn't have any sort of biological or geological signals. So that's one way to scan. And you had to have the DSS scanner, which you pick up at outfitting, and go there. It's for a lot of people, they use it a lot for mining. That is one of the ways, because you can see the uh, hot spots and whatnot.
Orbital flight engaged.
Stay in the red. We're going somewhere. A little bit. Most of the, uh, not so much fauna, but most of the flora you can find, will be out in the black doing this exobiology. So the things that I have scanned is the closest to the fauna and flora as there is in No Man's Sky, which involve you have to. Not all planets will have the biological signals. You have to find them, then go along and search. But yeah, it's not like No Man's Sky in that way. And I am
Frameshift drive
on the
charging.
wrong side of the planet.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Around the planet, get onto the light side because I'm no interest in searching for isn't a isn't sunlight. have a good lurk. I haven't set up any sort of commands like that yet, Delta, but enjoy your time. Hopefully, as long as it's not your stream isn't too late in the evening, I'll be able to pop in for a bit. And if you don't have one today, that's not a problem either. Definitely know which uh, options and commands people are interested in me setting up first.
Hull
Oh,
integrity
yep.
compromised.
Once again, way too fast. How are you enjoying Valheim, Shock?
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3,
Escape out.
2, 1.
Try to do
Engage.
the glide. Glad you're enjoying it. And hopefully, as time goes on, you won't be getting your ass kicked as much. From what I've seen people play of it, it does look really fun. But it's just one of those issues where I run into. Same with Delta, where there's just a lot of games that you want to play and not enough time.
Landing gear deployed.
Any gear. We'll probably need to do some fuel. Some fuel.
Low gravity warning.
So the ring above uh, the picture of the SRV that has sort of the light sound effect uh, things, that is the wave scanner that you have, which you go along and you want to look for the ice uh, collection of that. So this is the sort of the mining that you can
scoop deployed.
do. So you find something like that, shoot it with the turret, and it'll break apart the various pieces. There's also some things that you can do in the bubble around uh, settlements or abandoned settlements that whatnot. But this is the uh, mining, as it were, that you can do on planets. Very low gravity there. Elite Dangerous and Final Fantasy 14 have sort of been the rotation I have been going through myself.
Drive assist off. Cargo scoop retracted.
I have Farming Sim, or was able to pick up Farming Sim 22 when it was free to play, so or free to download, and have done a little gaming in that, but that's about it. It's I'm not sure. Some of it is, I think, this, but it might just be the graphics card that I have. I'm not able to do as detailed of a uh, graphics on it. Some of it is the first person side of Elite Dangerous is not the best. They from what people have talked about is they sort of threw it together
Drive
haphazardly, and
assist
it's
off.
a almost somewhat of a second rate first person uh uh add-on where they haven't done too much more. So I think it's more of the planets just don't look that detailed because most of the planets that I've been on look like this. Yeah, the planet exploration wasn't something that was built in at the start of the game. It was very much a um added on after the fact. But yeah, these are pretty much the only plants that you'll find in Elite Dangerous. There are you'll
Drive
get
assist
something
off.
like this, these sort of bushes, plants, and then there will be more tufts of grass and then bulbs. I really want to try it in VR. That might be the next big purchase I get, probably around my birthday in May. But the thing I'm going to have to do some research on is mainly VR headsets that can fit around my glasses because uh, I have bad enough vision that I need glasses to see anything past my nose. heading over here because I'm pretty sure these are. It is definitely for, like, as has been talked about, definitely in Delta's chat and whatnot. But VR, this game is supposedly absolutely breathtaking and amazing. Yeah, No Man's Sky would also be pretty good in VR as well. In one thing are here because this from the wave scanner should give me something as well to deal with. Once I get down to about 10%, then I'll synthesize some heal. Bushes. Might be fun until you flip your truck, Scott. I have definitely rolled and flipped it. This a few times and just been like, okay, glad that it just writes itself for me.
Ship recalled. Cargo scoop deployed.
I'm not sure they would let you borrow their truck again if you did something like this in somebody else's truck and returned it with no suspension. this the edge of this coolie area that I'm in, and if I don't see anything new to scan, I'm gonna recall my ship and start the process landing all over again. Oh, there we go. Found something new.
Drive assist off. Cargo scoop retracted.
There's the sort of tuber like plant that you can scan.
Drive assist off.
Bouncing around. Like a little bit flat or land instead of this so bumpy stuff, simply because the gravity can definitely send me flying, but here will get me something like that, which would be good. Here is definitely flatter Earth.
Drive assist off. Ship recalled.
So this is the you can't like aim down sights, zoom in that from what I know about, but there this is sort of like the turret uh scan and trying to drive in the turret does not work very well, or you need to have it connected to a joystick. But there really isn't that I know of a way to zoom in on your turret, unfortunately. Welcome back, Delta.
Drive assist off. Cannot comply. Landing gear retracted.
So,
Charging.
I you can choose weapons with turrets on your ship, and you can if you have you're in multi crew or you have
3,
somebody
2,
flying your ship
engage.
and go into the turret. Not during hyperspace. Change. But I will definitely give it a boost. But with the turrets being so much doing so less more, like maybe not so much more less damage, but they do definitely do less damage. But it's definitely so I don't use them too much. I prefer gimbaled ones definitely when now that I've gotten a HOTAS, but you can go into turrets that way.
System scan complete. Fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged.
Orbital body. So no, you can't switch between flying and turrets, at least not very easily, unfortunately.
Ready to engage. 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Game volume now might be a little too loud, but definitely tweak it if need be. time.
Fuel scooping. System scan complete.
So this is another system that is not worth trying to like scan anything because there was a uh only two bodies and they were both I could see on the scanner as being suns, so there wouldn't be any planets to check out. So that just means jumping on to the next one. And game audio just seems a little loud, so I'm gonna dial it back just a little bit. Not as much as I had it, but one or two ticks most likely.
Fuel scooping.
Up and definitely sign.
Fuel scooping complete.
Oh, yeah, so this so this is the full FSS scanning that you can do in a system, and it involves matching up the uh, symbols sort of thing there until you get the full circle, zooming in to, and then finding each planet, and it'll give you a basic description of the planets, and that is really how you're supposed to check when you're doing exobiology to see which planets are worth mapping, because some of them might not have full spectrum scanner.
System scan complete. Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, Kellogg, some of the uh, streamers or creators have also found that as well.
4, 3, 2.
But for some of them, they're just a lot more boisterous and loud as is. So that might be the case for them as well.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged.
Songs. So for now, song. finding things. So I'm just going to continue going
Frameshift
on.
drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage. System scan complete. Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage.
It very well might just be your TV. I know my dad's old TV was a little bit like that.
Fuel scooping.
I think it's now my TV, but I barely ever use it if I'm going to be using something. I'm using my uh, monitors simply because where I do most of my looking doing stuff on the internet or whatever. So
Fuel scooping complete.
I also need to talk to my internet uh, provider and re-sign a 2-year contract with them because it's now basically month to month, and might be able to might be some sort of deal that I can get out of doing that, and it might be getting a new might be able to get a new TV or something. I have been interested in watching soccer lately, and so I might. Some of that is just getting into looking at various uh, str- streaming sites that do that instead of paying for sports cable, which I do not use. I think the
System
last
scan
time
complete.
any sort of I watched any sort of TV was back in
Drive charging.
July. Yeah, July when I did it.
4, 3, 2,
Yeah,
1.
there's been a few streaming sites that I've seen that do that offer football, and I've never done too much research, which I just need to spend an evening looking at that instead of whatever else. But that is the would
Fuel
be
scooping.
good to have. So this looks to be yeah. So this one has definitely been discovered by somebody else, which just means they went through uh, the
Fuel scooping
FSS
complete.
scanner in this system,
Frameshift drive charging.
and I have definitely found that going sort of the east of the bubble has gotten a lot less uh, traffic, it seems. Sure, the last time I tried to do some of the exploration, I only got as far as the California Nebula, which is an area full of Thorogoid, so it's still relatively popular.
Fuel scooping. System scan complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four,
Yeah.
three, two, one. Engage.
If how the systems are going, I might actually get to the nebula that I set as a post point here soon.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged.
Pretty sure the nebula that I'm heading to has definitely been explored before, simply due to it being called the Statue of Liberty Nebula. I'm sure lots of people are like, yes, I want to go visit the Statue of
System
Liberty,
scan complete.
and trucked on that, so I'm probably going to
Frameshift drive charging.
continue past there instead of doing some might smaller jumps around it.
Four, three, two, one. Engage.
I usually choose music or just my fan as a background white noise to listen to.
System scan complete.
Yeah,
Fuel
the
scooping.
FSS and then the D scanner uh are the ones that you'll have sort of built in, and like the D scanner is just the first one that I pull up, and you have to be in
Fuel
analysis mode to use it.
Frameshift drive
And
charging.
will give you sort of like, oh, these are how many bodies are in the system. And then FSS will give you a little more detailed after you've spent the time scanning.
Four, three,
Everything else
one.
has to be purchased. Like the DSS has to be purchased, which I think it's only like 15,000 credits.
System scan complete. Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Frameshift drive charging.
Fair enough. That's nine. 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 Okay. If that is when Delta Sun allows you to have a life,
Two,
then
one. Engage.
I probably will be able to stick around for a little bit. Delta's just everywhere.
Fuel scooping.
There has been discovered by somebody else. One
Fuel scooping complete.
biological He's always watching. He's everywhere.
Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage.
There's a movie I haven't seen in
Fuel scooping. System
quite a
scan
while.
complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage. Fuel scooping.
Also on the map.
Fuel scooping complete.
I, if I'm gonna be watching something to fall asleep, I'm usually choosing a like video, maybe not a stream, but it's definitely a pre-made like person's video, and they're usually about 30 or 45 minutes long, simply so that if my charger doesn't work correctly, I don't have to worry about my old phone, which I use as a YouTube player for bedtime and alarm clock, doesn't die on me, as it has happened to me before. It's died and then I missed my alarm and woken up late. And the one time I did that, I woke up and I'm just like, yeah,
Fuel scooping.
I just decided not to go into work that day. I just decided to stay at home, and
Fuel scooping complete.
as it was like 10:30 when I woke up, and I'm just like, if I got to work, there would
Frameshift
be
drive charging.
maybe 4 hours that I'd still be there. It's not really worth it. Plus, I would have to deal with, oh, why are you in now? Blah blah blah. Did you really just sleep in? Sort of thing. And I was like, yeah, I can just say I was sick. I think your liver would have uh problems with that if that was the constant
Complete. Fuel scooping.
choice. Shock.
Frameshift drive charging.
I only ever use that if I have to do a fast switch of my sleep schedule. Like if I have to go from sleeping at night to sleeping during the daytime,
Two,
I'll sometimes get super drunk, pass out, wake up uh, slightly hungover, and be able to go that route. But haven't had to do that in quite a quite a few years now. Kate Jones. Might just push straight to the nebula. I have found having two very loud, blaring, sort of like nuclear meltdown alarm sounds as my alarms definitely wakes me up, but I also sometimes struggle. It's not so much struggling to wake up, it's struggling to get out of bed. Then I remember I need money, and then I get out of bed. But actually, just before Christmas, sort of speaking on kidney stones, my supervisor at work had kidney stones, and that was he was like, yeah, it was kind of uh, a bad week leading up to Christmas because of that. Yeah, that definitely would make sense.
Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage.
That is what people who've had kidney stones have said. They were quite
Fuel scooping.
uh, quite painful. One of the things that my supervisor
Frameshift
did
drive charging.
during that whole week was basically just drink lemon juice with a little water in it. To That was, I believe, what the
Four,
doctor he saw had sort of suggested as a way to help break them down, was to do that. The acid was supposed to supposedly help. So he's like, yeah, what it was still painful, but wasn't as bad as what some people have said. So,
fuel scooping. System scan complete.
but thankfully, knock on wood, I've never had
Drive charging.
kidney stones. The worst sort of medical issue I've ever had was having to get a couple stitches.
Four, three, two, one. Engage.
The point is, you stayed, Delta. Point is, you stayed.
Fuel scooping.
I'm
Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage.
The next couple systems have this sort of uh, have already been discovered. I might head off and slightly different direction.
Fuel scooping.
Yep, has
Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage.
Welcome in, Double Tap. Glad to see you. I haven't had cranberry juice in quite a while. I think the last time I bought some cranberry juice was to mix with gin. But
System scan complete. Fuel scooping.
that's about it. If I'm gonna have something with like sort of like cranberry juice, it'll be like cranberry ginger ale. And even that I haven't had in quite a while.
Four, three, two, one. Engage.
I'm sure there are some, or maybe juices, that would go bad with cranberry juice, so you probably shouldn't mix them together. But it's always a good mixer.
System scan complete. Frameshift drive charging.
Definitely see the nebula that I'm heading to a lot clearer now.
Four, three, two, one. Engage. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage.
Is it just Mountain Dew voltage that is
Fuel scooping.
done best with gin, or is it just any Mountain Dew? Shock. And is Mountain Dew voltage considered like a white pop, as in sort of like same sort of like color as Sprite or Mountain Dew normally? Voltage only.
Fuel scooping complete.
I will have to see if I can even get voltage in Canada. There is I know there's some. I think it is still the case that white pop, like non Coca Cola, Pepsi, that sort of colas, can't have caffeine, or are the only ones that can have caffeine in them. All other ones can't in Canada. So if they have caffeine in them, they can't be sold here. I don't know if that's still the case. I also don't check too far in my local store's top aisle. I picked the 6 pack of uh, Coke and uh, just leave because that's what I drink. And as such, don't do too much other exploring.
System scan complete.
Dual Sons. Super Cruise Assist out of the way so that I can angle up.
Four, three, two, one. Engage. Frameshift drive charging.
Oops. Probably yeah. I'm just gonna take do all the jumps.
Four,
Now
three,
head to the nebula.
one. Engage.
Maybe the loading screens are getting a little
Fuel scooping.
longer.
Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging.
So enjoy your lure, Krusty. chaotic. I'm sorry. I'm sure Krusty is lurking somewhere.
4, 3, 2, 1. System scan complete. Fuel scooping.
Gonna try one more jump, and if it
Fuel scooping.
continues to be a bit of a
Frameshift drive
long
charging.
loading time, I'm probably gonna take that as the servers are getting kind of congested and stop it there. I've been going for
3,
hour, just over an hour and a half,
engage.
and I have a few things I want to do this evening as well. So yeah, with
Fuel
dropping
scooping.
into this system, finishing off the fuel
Complete.
scoop.
Frameshift drive charging.
We are going to pause, stop it there. But thanks for everyone for hanging out. I hope you all have a good night and see you next time. Most likely Sunday at 12:30 Mountain Standard, so 30 minutes after noon, Mountain Standard Time. Till then, see you later.